So hi, I've been trying to reach you. Almost I opened that your link and I listened to your podcast. It was really interesting. I've never had to listen to, you know, any podcast, but this was really, really interesting. Like you were gisting. It sounded like a radio show. Oh, that's really nice. Kudos, kudos.
Welcome to the latest episode of the VN Center podcast. I'm your host, Tega. I'm joined by my regular on the show, my co-host, Edmund Oris. I'm joined by Dr. Williams, and I have a new guest on the show all the way from the UK to introduce herself. Edmund, how are you doing?
Well, Tega, I'm fine. Thank God for life. I'm alive. I'm okay. Thank God. The last episode was very good, so I'm really excited to shoot this one.
Dr. Williams, how are you doing? Back from COVID duties.
I'm doing great. It's been a while. I've missed this a lot. I'm happy I was able to squeeze out time to give in my best to this family that we've built together.
Hiya, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. Hey, you guys, it's my first episode. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. How have you been coping during the COVID-19 stress?
I've been in lockdown for like 8 weeks, and I'm over it. I am over it. I'm tired, exhausted, actually.
Do you have like the opportunity to work from home or?
No, I don't, because I need to do schoolwork and all, but then I'm stuck. So I'm watching TV and.
All right. Hopefully things get better. Tourists in Nigeria, the lockdown restrictions are being lifted gradually. Our President Buhari came out to say these restrictions will be lifted in phases. What do you think about that decision? Do you think it's too early or is the right move to make?
It's actually a very delicate situation, Tega, because first and foremost, people need to eat, especially those, like we talked in the last episode, those people that need to go out to work every day to get daily income to feed their families and themselves. It's been hell for them. Do you get? So I feel like because of those set of people, that's why they are lifting. And also due to the fact that they cannot provide, because in other countries, for example, the UK, Canada, and some other of all these top countries, the government have been sending the citizens money. Do you get?
Yeah.
But it can't happen in Nigeria. No matter how we want to spin it, there were cries online. Some hashtags were trending for the government to pay us using BVN and all that. I know it's not possible. Yes, so I felt like since the government, they realized, okay, we can't pay these guys, and we can't also keep them, because if Corona doesn't kill them, hunger will kill them. So I feel what they are just doing is, okay, let's release the lockdown so everybody can go about. But for me, personally, I think it's a horrible decision, because you can see the rising number in Lagos State, for example, even Kano. I think Kano is still going to be on lockdown. But for Lagos, you can see yesterday they had 45 cases. Overall, we had 204 cases.
Yeah.
So if we're on lockdown and the number, we're almost hitting 2,000 in general, and we're still increasing. So what happens when it's lifted? It's like a death sentence. It's a calamity waiting to happen, guys. So I feel like it's a terrible decision.
Yeah. Okay. In the UK, how is it going there? Are you guys still on lockdown, or are they trying to lift it?
We have no news yet of them lifting the lockdown. We're still on it, even though like people still have opportunities to like go shopping or go and exercise. But still, they just said that we reached peak, so we'll see how it goes from now. But then Nigerian situation as well, it's just very, very terrible. Even though like people have to go out to eat and hustle and that kind of situation. But then we don't have anything to help anybody.
Dr. Williams, now medically, what do you think is like the best solution to this, or what's your take on the whole lockdown situation first?
Okay, firstly, let me correct an impression that Edmond has gotten wrong. The numbers are not increasing because of the lockdown. The number is increasing because more people are being tested.
I didn't say the numbers are increasing because of
no.
I said the numbers are increasing despite the lockdown. Despite
the lockdown, fine.
Yeah.
But the numbers are not increasing because of the lockdown. The numbers are increasing because more people are being tested, more test centers are being opened. So the eventuality is that more people will be tested. And already, there is already a local community spread. So it's no longer a case of I've traveled before or I was in contact. Now there is already a community spread. So if someone is already infected, people around him that have come in contact with him are likely to be infected. Also, the lifting of the lockdown is a very controversial issue. It has its own positive and its own negatives. For the negatives, the fact that people will tend to disbelieve the disease and say, okay, it's not in my side, so I can move around. And at the end of the day, you tend to forget that the disease is not written on the face, it's transmittable through fomites. So you will come in contact with more people that are actually the disease carriers. On the side of the masses, they've been at home for a while. There is no money in circulation. They are just at home eating out of their savings, which we Nigerians don't like to do. So I think the government
the ones that don't have savings.
Okay, true. What are the ones that don't have savings? What are the ones that eat from hand to mouth every day? Example, those that push wheelbarrows to sell things. How do they feed? So the government has said, okay, I've heard your cries. I can't feed you. I can't provide for you. But you are go and walk. Indirectly, Buhari just said you are the mercy of your immune system. That's the whole story.
Well, we're going to be living on immune system and inshallah.
We are the mercy of we're living on inshallah. And small salt like Vampire Diaries.
Exactly. Well, the Muslims are fasting now, so I think they're going to be praying for us. For example, in the US, lots of people are losing jobs. Even alone, just this week, 3.8 million people in the US filed for unemployment. And in Nigeria, for example, now the NCDC, what's his name now? His name has escaped my mind. He came out to say the testing, they are doing a lot of testing, but the testing is not like enough. No, even as Williams has said, it has increased, but it's still not enough. So some countries are looking for, okay, how do we like increase the number of tests and everything? So US, they came up with this testing of antigen, which I think it's good. There, the testing instead of testing the virus, waiting for the virus to eventually show up, you can go to like a hospital and just go for antigen testing, and it's kind of faster and it's cheaper. And the result can basically come out in like 15 minutes. Williams, would that help? Because people always say antigen is not like accurate all the time. So would that help in the case of coronavirus, which is even more deadly than the some other diseases that they use antigen to test?
Well, corona is not as deadly as those viruses. Let me correct you. Corona just has the faster arrow knot in terms that the basic reproductive rate of the disease is faster. It goes from 2 to 4 to 6 to 7 to 20 because people are coming in contact with a surface. So you cannot count how many people will touch that surface. That's why they said the average human being touches his face 3,000 to 3,000 times a day. That's 3 to 5 times every waking minute. Yeah. So for this antibody test, it's not a new testing method. It has only been there since this corona started. Yeah. It's just that the antibody test is not so specific compared to the PCR. The antibody test, they are testing if your body has formed an antibody against the infection. For example, if I come in contact with Edmund now that is infected and I isolate, it is expected that within 14 days or so, I'm supposed to have formed an antibody against that disease if I did not show symptoms. Yeah. So they're expecting that your body is supposed to produce antibodies against that disease. So if you test positive, the results will show likely antibodies resulted from the infection. If the antibodies are unclear or they are having a discrepancy in the values or the results, they will tell you to go and do the PCR. But if you test negative and you do not have previous infection or you not begin to show new signs of the symptoms of the disease, you will go and do the PCR. So the antibody is just checking for either you have formed like a small immunity towards the disease and it's not so 100% reliable. So that's why people are really shying away from it.
Yeah, exactly. As Williams actually said, speaking from the medical perspective, as he said, but
I'm speaking as a human being.
As a resident consultant on the podcast. Okay, moving on to something a bit playful now. There's a couple that gave birth. I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago thereabouts. They named their twins. They gave Corona and COVID. Is that something is that something you would do? Will you like? Would you think is an internal? Is that something you would do to name your child Corona, your twins Corona and COVID after like 9 months in your stomach?
When I'm not mad. Because like the hospital staff, like the people in the hospital were calling the children already COVID and Corona. Like, why not? And I think I read somewhere that they were like, oh, they wanted it to be like a memorabilia for like hard times and things like that. I'm like, okay, with your children, all right, that's fine.
It's just crazy. I think Corona is kind of a fancy name, Edmund. I think I can forgive
what's
Corona.
What's fancy about? Please, what's fancy about Corona? How will you conscious? Why will you do that to a child? Why will you do that? Because this guy is going to grow up with his whole life, and people will call him Corona. People don't remember Corona fondly. I think on the news, I think it was Will Smith was saying we should have a Corona week sometime in the future, and I'm like, what's that? Why will anybody want to remember this whole period? It's been terrible. I think this is the worst period the world has experienced in a long time. So why would you want to name your child something? So when he's growing up, his friends and everybody, I would not want to be in that child's shoes, to be honest. I feel it's a horrible decision.
I'm always different opinionated. I feel the naming of a child is a personal preference thing. We are not the parents of the child. So from their own perspective, they want to use these names to have a reminder of this event. Maybe they struggled, maybe they prayed and waited for this child to come, these twins, and it came in this period. So, okay, let's name it Corona and COVID. You don't say, okay, what are the people, Nigerians, that name their children Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Harvest, Ernest, Edmund? Are those normal names? So
do you know the meaning of Edmund? I don't understand. I don't understand. Are you trying to compare?
I'm just trying to tell you that the fact is that we have no right to judge their names.
Yeah,
is what they want to give, and I feel it should be what we should accept.
We have no right. Edmund. We have no right to judge their names, but
Edmund.
I can say categorically, for me, it's a terrible decision. Will you name your child COVID?
You had no issues when the Kardashians were naming their children Stormy, West, Saint. So why is this COVID now a sensitive part?
They are not associated with bad things.
No. Williams, why are you trying to defend this? Okay, let's move on.
Children grow up and basically get bullied on their names. Some people actually go and change their names. I think I read the story where a child on Reddit, I guess, I can't remember the particular name now, but she had to go change her name because she was always getting bullied with her name. When she was able, her parents did not want her to change her name. In fact, they almost sent her packing out of the house when they found out that she changed her name when she became of legal age. I don't think that names can bring to like some sort of bullying, which is terrible though. But don't the parents have a case to a part to play in the naming, unlike what William said?
The thing is, they have fine, they name their child and all, but then maybe at the point of naming, they didn't see the impact of what name they give to their child.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, that these two children are going to go under ridicule. They are going to go under ridicule because of the names they have.
Definitely. For their lives. So
it's not just, it's my choice, I'm going to name my child this. They are going to be ridiculed for a very long time.
Yeah.
Why are people not naming their child cancer or HIV? They should name their child cancer or HIV. Or tuberculosis is their choice now.
They are funny names like Anarchy, Hurricane, and Katrina. Nobody's saying all those things, but that's by the way.
They are not associated with an epidemic or death, guy. You can't justify that. To be honest.
Edmund, the same way people are giving their children native names, and their children are not answering the names when they grow up. The parents, we need to understand that the parents' generation and our generation are two different things. The way they are seeing things is not the way we are seeing things. So
Yeah.
on the defense of the parents, I feel in their heart of heart, they felt it was the right decision. But we, the younger generation, we do not feel that because we are the ones that are more opinionated. In the same way that you can't be an adult, you see an adult will see you doing something and he will tell you that's wrong. But in your own heart of heart, like, this is the in thing, this is what is reigning now. So in his own defense, I feel they felt it was right. So that's why they did it. If the child grows up and he feels the name is not worthy to be used, you can change the name. No, there was no problem. Like my name now, they call me. I started answering my English name throughout. They asked me why. When I came to boarding school, there were different tribes of people. They're pronouncing the name differently. Some were calling it Ogo, 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 Ogo. Different pronunciation. One was Botsu, one was Blockhead, one was this one was that. So I just said, okay, I will stop answering the name. That didn't make me less of a person. I just switched to my English name and it was easier for everybody. So today, it's my English name everybody calls me. I didn't feel less of myself. I just saw it that they were pronouncing it wrongly and the intention of the name or the message the name was carrying was not going to be passed properly. So I just said, okay, since for me not to be offended and for me not to them to stop maybe saying it wrongly, just give them your English name and everything ended. I didn't feel bad to anybody. That's just my thought process about it. But my parents did not think that I will go to school and some people will be pronouncing my name wrongly as when they were naming me. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah. During this Corona period, it's been on the news that families are getting closer to each other. They are bonding. They are, since everybody's stuck at home. So I don't know, has anybody noticed that? Because me personally, I'm not with my family. I stay alone, but I speak to my family. But almost every day now during the Corona period. I don't know whether there's any special bond that Corona maybe has brought me and my family closer. It's the same normal relationship. So, Aya, do you have any special bond with your family during this Corona saga?
For me, though, it's been constant video calls. Normally, we speak almost every day, but now it's like 2 video calls every day or more. But I just feel like they're missing me so much, and as much as they're missing somebody to do housework. So
yeah.
So I'm just going to put it there. Like, fine, a lot of families will bond and all because, they have no choice other than to be closer. And you don't have an excuse to say, oh, I was doing something, that's why I couldn't call, or that's why I'm not around. You get?
Yeah. Oris, from your end now, there was a story of a father who beat his child up. Can you throw more light on that?
Oh, okay. I think it's an old video though that surfaced online recently. I can't remember the exact country, but apparently the father paid over $21,000. He pays over $21,000 for his son to go to school, but the son was failing. And it wasn't just, he only passed music. Yeah, he only passed music. He failed the other subject and then he was absent for maths and English.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is the basic. And then on the video, the mom was recording, which I still don't understand why the mom was recording, but the father was slapping the child and just, normal African parenting thing, like, why are you wasting my money? You're wasting your life. Like, this type of stuff. So it caused a lot of different opinions. And some people were like, why would the father be beating the child like that? African parents are beating. And some people were like, of course, he has to beat the child. So I just feel like maybe we could talk about that and how the whole ideology behind beating children. And I wanted to see what you guys thought.
Yeah. Okay. So, Williams, in your case now, hypothetically, in the future, you have a child, you're spending so much on him, you are basically spending all your doctor allowances on this child, going and it's failing.
It doesn't really have to be spending. Just general discipline. Williams, are you of the opinion that beating children is excessive, or you feel? What's your own take on?
Okay, fine. Let's look at it in this light.
Yeah.
I'm the father. I stay in Zambia because the child was in Zambia. It's in American International College of Lusaka.
Yeah.
I'm paying $21,000 for a session, a year. That's 8 million. Yeah. I send you to an exam. You are absent for maths and English, which are the essential courses to pass. Yeah. You fail the rest and you pass to the music. Why would I not be angry? For one, this father, may not be the sole financially rich father, but he wants the best for his child because it's a male child.
Yeah.
So he this kind of man will not always be around in the house because he will be going out to make sure that he's able to provide. Then he comes back home and see that all his sleepless nights, his trips, his business deals, he sends you to write an exam, and you are absent for the two most important ones. You show the rest and pass only music. Why will I not be angry? That child should be properly disciplined. I don't know anything you are telling me, tell him sorry. The child should be beaten because that's even the Bible that you people read says spoil the child, spare the rod and spoil the child.
That we people read. Are you not a Christian?
the child is not aware, in his heart of heart that he has made a mistake. But when you see that conscious correction, the child will know that I have messed up. You will, after you beat him, you will now explain to him the implications of the action of his actions and why you were angry.
Okay, all right. So Williams, chill. I know in the UK there are different rules there are different rules to beating like children. I don't think it's not even right. I think they can take your child from you. So what do you think about the whole beating of children situation?
The thing is, I just feel that it doesn't work sometimes because you could beat a child and beat for a long time and still the child is through. So basically, I think you as basically parents should just find a way to get to their children. See, Ogo, the thing with me was I wasn't good at math well in school. Math was an issue for almost everybody in school. And if my parents were beating me with it, I'll be like, what's the need? Since they're going to beat me, why should I try to?
It's not about beating you consistently. They needed to tell you that you need to pass this math so that you could get into university. They need to tell you that the implications of you not passing will lead to this. But if that implication was not explained out, the child will be lax about it. That is the point I'm trying to drive here.
Well, for me, I think there are some cases that beating the child is allowed. I agree with Williams in some point. There are some cases that if you F up too much, you should get spanked. Well, it should be with moderation and not always physically assaulting the child because it leads to serious problems down the line. So I can see where Edmund is coming from. That Edmund might not agree with always.
No, you don't know where I'm coming from. What I think.
Okay, where are you coming from?
Do you know what I think about child beating and all? Personally, I feel like our parents' generation, they come from a different set of parents compared to the one that they are. They are different. Like, okay, for example, now, growing up, they didn't have the kind of luxuries that we have. They didn't have phones. They had to trek long distances to go to school. Then, in their generation, you had to go to school. That was the only way you're going to make it. Do you understand?
Yes.
So they had a totally different upbringing. But I feel like the world is changing. Do you get? So I'm not really in the school of thought that you should always be the child. Listen. And again, when a father or a parent beats a child, the thing is there are two totally different scenarios. For example, a son of a rich father, a very rich father, can make a couple mistakes in his life. You get with school, and because of his father's position in life, he will still be able to correct those mistakes. Do you get? He can. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you are the child of a parent that they are not doing so well, you don't have so many opportunities. So when you fail or you misbehave, they have very little patience with you because they are giving you better than they had. So the level of what's the right word can I use now? But for example now in the United States, white children hardly get beat because even if they fail, the system is set up for them in a way that they can recover. No matter how you are in the UK, provided you are white, you can always put your life back on track. But for blacks, if you make a mistake, F up, like you said, you're either going to jail or you are going to prison or you are dead. Do you understand? So it's why the black parents will always still beat their children till now. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, but the white children, it doesn't really happen. So what I feel like our parents' generation, they experience a different set of parents. they are a different set of parents from us. So I feel like we can be different. We can put ourselves in a position where, because I feel like constantly battering of a child or constantly beating, it affects mentally and every other way. Yeah. So I'm not really in the school of thought of really, really always beating. I don't feel like that's always the best solution.
Okay. All right. Okay. So keeping the topic now in like family related, there was a topic I saw on Reddit where a wife asked the opinion of her husband about getting breast implants. Like she wanted to like increase the size of her breasts. Obviously the husband, was very supportive, very like, okay, yes, he loves what she wants to do and everything. But it became a serious argument in the house because the wife said, the husband is being too supportive. So does he like women with bigger breasts than she has? So it just became a very serious issue. So and for me, my own opinion is that there are some topics that, like for example, when I used to date and I had a girlfriend, then not now. And my girlfriend tells me, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to get this, I want to get that. And she's trying to compare herself with another person, like a lady or something. I always tell her, do whatever you want to do. I support you. I think that's like the best way to go about all those kind of situations. As a woman, Aya, what do you think about, will you like be upset if your husband is like in that situation now? Will you be upset if he's too like supportive of your decision? What will you do?
Like, honestly, you just said my mind. Because I think like basic thing that we should have done was just give her reassurance. No matter what you do, I support you. You were fine before, you'll be fine after. Anyone you do, I support you. Because you don't want problems for your life. Just tell her you support her, and then whatever she does, you're fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. Williams, what's your take? Because I know you're an expert in this kind of situations.
Well, women generally are tricky beings, I'm sorry to say. Yeah. They lead you. I don't know whether they do not express how they really feel, in the sense that a woman can say, I want a glass of water.
Yeah.
She tells you outrightly. But in her mind, she does not want you to give her the water. So
then what does she want you to do?
She does not want you. She does not want you to give her the water. So why did she tell you she wants water? Why?
You're trying to make it seem as if women are not rational. I have
okay.
Again about the boob job. So she had to rethink all these years like that. You've been telling me you've been fine with my body. Doesn't mean that
you've not been fine. Yeah.
You come to me now and tell me, okay, Williams, I want to get a boob job. And I say, okay, fine, I like the idea, it's good. Then you will not tell me that I've known you since for how many years? I did not tell you needed it. Why am I support? Why is it now I want to say it?
No, the thing is, I think she went to her husband because she wanted support from him. Uncle was too happy about it. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like what Tega said. When the husband agreed hurriedly, it felt almost like he has been dissatisfied with her boobs. So I feel like she needed reassurance. She just, maybe it's a test. See, this like Williams says, I'm not women. I don't think the word is tricky. I feel they are complicated. They are complicated people. So I felt like she needed a sort of reassurance, something like, oh, baby girl, oh, I think your boobs are okay, or something like that. Then she would be like, okay, you get ball. Because at the end of the day, she's not the one using the boobs, it's the man. So I feel like she just wanted a level of, assurance that, okay, it's fine the way it is and all that. So I don't know.
All right, moving on to other topics. Last week I said Nigerian Twitter is a very toxic place. And every week I don't get surprised about what continuously happens on Twitter in the Nigerian space, for example. Throughout this week, there have been lots of ladies coming out, talking about they've been sexually assaulted and acting they're basically been naming the people, the men who have physically and assaulted them, both physically and sexually. And it's just crazy because I feel this issue should not only be addressed on Twitter, because what happens in these days is that people come on Twitter and say, I got physically assaulted, I got sexually assaulted. It is fine to come on Twitter and say that, but they need to follow it up in the court of law, because if you say, I got physically assaulted on Twitter, I got sexually assaulted, which I got raped, which is a very huge, serious offense and a serious crime. If you only end it on Twitter, you only end it on social media, it's going to end there. basically they're going to drag the so-called person for a week. They're going to drag the person for maybe 1 week, 3 days, sometimes it's even 24 hours and move on to another gist. So for me, my own opinion on this is that when people people come out to call out people that have sexually assaulted them, they should also remember that there's a court of law. This needs to be done also in the courts. So these kind of things can stop, because I've seen so many allegations. I'm trying not to call names, and who is a repeat offender in this? So many ladies have come out, not once, not twice, not 3 times. There's also another person, not once, not twice, not 3 times. And they all end this on Twitter. They all end it on Facebook. They all end it on social media and Instagram. People are ready to do amebo on their gist, but no action is being taken offline, which is where the action should be taken and not online. Maybe I'm too hard on this case. Oris, what's your take?
Yeah, I think you're honest and you are correct about them following it up and not just coming to Twitter to tweet about it. But I feel like the thing with all these issues is that everybody this thing it's not an easy something to want to talk about. You get my own personal advice will have been, immediately something like that happen, immediately you are assaulted or you are harassed, follow it up immediately. Don't wait. But then a lot of people are not comfortable with coming out with that fact because of the you get. So I understand that. But whenever you decide to come online and you are over it and you are ready to ask the person and all that, follow it up, because it has happened a lot. This is not the first time, it's not the second time, it's not the third time, it's not the fourth time. Where, like you said, the issue comes online, people talk about it, and then after a week or two, it's totally forgotten. In fact, one faked is dead or something like that, and no matter how you just go sweep on that drum, these people need to be punished. They need to be set as an example. So because this is a serious issue, it's a terrible issue, you get.
Yes.
You get. So I feel like it should be followed up. You have to follow it up. Punish these people.
Yeah, and the annoying thing for me is that these so-called assaulters, if you go on Twitter, you see that once the whole thing starts, their followers starts increasing. It's not as if people are even unfollowing them, because
like, I don't understand why are you following people? Why I don't understand what's wrong? Following you that what exactly?
That's what I'm saying. People are in on Twitter. People are in on the gist and not your problem. You go on Twitter, you're saying the people want gist, so they'll go and follow the
one that happened. The recent one that happened today, I think the guy had about 2,000 followers, and by the end of it started in the morning, and by this evening, as we're talking, he has over 4,000, 5,000 followers. So I'm like, I don't understand. Is that something? Why will you? In fact, you should block that kind of person. Why are you following the person?
It's just crazy. Well, what do you think about this whole issue? Because I know it's a difficult issue for a lady and for ladies to actually come out because people say they're lying and all those things. What do you think?
Some people could media to like express themselves or report people.
Yeah.
Then again, if you're following it up, do you have money to pay legal fees?
Yeah.
That's something. And then the police system, it doesn't favor women. You could see women going to, police stations and be like, this happened to me. And then the policemen will be like, you'll be very, what's the word now? You'll not be considerate about it.
Yeah.
So it's hard for a lot of victims to speak.
Let me quote them.
And express what they have gone to, like express. Oh, this is what has happened. This, and like that.
Yeah, Nigerian police, they'll be like, Madam, you sure they really touch you?
Why you go in house?
Why you go in house for nights? Waiting you to find. Man and woman they stay for bed. They know they touch. Now wow.
I feel like
so you wear skirts go. Why you not go when you see your period? Now when your period finish, you can't go. Why you not talk that time? That's what annoys me the most. Why you not talk that time?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of we should actually see the fact that a girl comes to your house is not enough. It's not a reason for you to touch her, man. It's not.
Yes.
I mean, we need to lecture. We need to lecture a lot of people. There needs to be a lot of, because the funny thing is some boys are not aware. They feel their entitlement is so disgusting. They feel that maybe once a girl comes to their house, some will tell you that we went to the club, I bought so and so thing, so we went home and we're not going to do anything. So they want to forcefully have their way, which is so they need to be. I don't know if maybe right from when they're in secondary school level, especially for boys.
Yeah.
Like me now, I have 4 younger brothers. I'm going to try my best this period to start lecturing them and start talking to them about the fact on consent sexual abuse, sexual assaultment, and their relationship with girls. You get.
Yeah.
You cannot be entitled to a lady's body on no account. The only way you can have anything sexual with a girl is if she's giving you the permission. You get. When she says no, it does not mean beg me small. I agree. No means no.
Yeah.
Because some girls, some boys will tell you no once. She tell you no once, you just agree. No means that she wants you to beg her a little bit because girls are confused. They don't know what they want. She can mean yes, but she's telling you no. It's just disgusting, and it has put a lot of people in trouble. When you're trying to do whatever it is you're trying to do with a girl, and she tells you no, stop. Carry yourself away. In fact,
Yes.
so boys need to do better. Boys need to do a lot better.
Do you get irritated when like a guy comes up to you and like maybe is interested in you, and you basically tell him okay no, and the person keeps being persistent? Is that like a huge turn off? Is it?
It's a huge turn off. It's very irritating. It is very scary because as I think basically as women, your mind goes into overdrive. What is he trying to do? Where is he coming from? Things like that, questions like that. So imagine how scared women are of men just basically talking to you.
Well, me, I'm a strong activist for both for human rights, both rape and domestic violence.
Yeah.
On no account. Okay, let me give you a short story. I had an incident yesterday.
Yes.
Not me per se, but somebody came to report it to me. This married couple that stayed in my area.
Yeah.
Around 1 a.m. They were shouting, leave me. So I felt, what's happening? Hope you're not robbing.
Yeah.
Then my normal instincts, I tried to come outside. And remember, I tried to come outside again.
Williams always wants to be a hero.
Yeah.
Edmund said I shouldn't be coming outside again. So I just observed for a while.
Yeah.
Then I came outside. I found out that they were actually married, and the guy was trying to rape his wife. Why? We married man wants to rape his wife. So I called him. She was already crying, shouting, "You will kill me, wicked man! God go punish you." Trust women, and they were on their way. The man was just there with the kilo for me. I said, "Okay, what's up? What happened?" He said, "No, mind my wife. I go don't pay bright price. I go won't give him for night. He go tell me say he not in the mood."
Yeah.
You must say, "No mind now. You don't go take the tramadol. I ain't want you taking me." The woman, I asked the man a simple question. Did she consent to this sex? He said, "Consent not the marriage, oh. Consent not the marriage. Why I not go make love with my wife?" I'm like,
but the person you want to make love to is not interested. Is it by force?
Yes, no. And I said, "Okay, Oga, let me use local terms. When you the una kiss," he said, "No, I just push her for bed, then I dey pull her pants." I said, "Oga, that's not how it's done." And I said, "No, not be so. Not be you go tell me how I go lie with my wife." So I talked. We talked till like 2:30 a.m. I was so exhausted. The guy now they were still fighting. I just came out and told them that I don't want to say their voice again in this compound. If I hear it again, they will leave by Monday because I cannot be having this kind of stress, coming long day and coming to settle couple issues. So apparently, when I came back from work today, he apologized that he was sorry. He was just not in a good place. He felt sex would take his mind off it, that maybe he was wrong in his approach, the way he went about it. That he would have asked her whether she was interested to do it. So he was just begging me that I should not drive him from the compound. So I'm not thinking, is he really sorry, or because I have told him that I would send him out of the compound?
Williams,
come and meet me.
Williams, see, the issue now is that that's just one out of 100. There are many men like that, and that's the way the whole Nigerian and African society is set up. In the sense that when men they get married to women, they have this, they feel this sense of they start feeling like God. Why would you want to make love to a person and the person is not interested and you will not let the person be? Do you understand? It doesn't make sense. And not just a lot of men.
Edmund continue about style, bro. That's on his own, on their defense. So. That's why I tell you that the average poor man just wants to have sex. That's what you think of. Fuck. That's what the average man wants to do. The average poor man.
That's why you see
making plans. I'm telling you the truth. I analyzed it today when I was thinking about when I was speaking.
Yeah.
But an average, you see that a very rich man that is goal oriented and focused, we hardly be wanting to be sleeping with a girl every day because he has targets to meet, he has contracts to meet up to, and contracts to execute. But you see that poor man, all he's thinking about is how he drink and how he sleep with his wife. That's why you see that the poor men are the ones that have the most children, and they're the ones that cannot take care of the children. So they keep on raising.
Should I tell you their mentality? Born are many. One of them.
Nine the sign of wealth.
Born are many. One of them go save us.
That's the motto.
There's a child Jesus Christ.
This is something that I feel like the government needs to. It's just that Nigeria, we're not an organized society.
When I become president of Nigeria,
we don't have a correct data system. If I'm the one, place a limit to the number of children you can have. 2. Everybody. Yeah. That's one. We're overpopulated.
Yeah.
When I become the Minister of Health or the president of this country, it's going to be 2 children per family.
I think that is exactly what China is doing, and it has the advantages and disadvantages though. So it's not like it's simple
for Nigeria.
Then I'm going to make. That's what you do. I'm going to now make abortion normal. I won't make it a taboo again. I will legalize it. So people will not give me excuse of will not feel comfortable. That's why we just leave out.
Because another thing people women will face in this lockdown is abuse. Because now they have nowhere to run to. They have nobody to report to. They have nobody to go to. So it's going to be a problem.
Speaking of teenage problems and youth problems, Williams was talking to me recently about the pressure to always succeed at when you're 25, when you're 26, 24, around that period. And there are lots of young people that actually listen to the podcast. So Edmund, what do you think about the whole pressure to succeed at a particular age, this 24, 25, 26, youthful, when we're in our youth?
I don't even think you can actually place a particular age on it because people grow differently. But for me, in Nigeria, midlife crisis starts it starts when you're done with NYSC. When you're done.
Or when you haven't done with university.
University, when you're done university, most people have something to look forward to. Everybody in Nigeria that finished wants to go and save. You have to. People don't like it, but you have to get it over with at least. You get.
Yes.
And when you're serving, at least you're getting paid. Even though we all complain then that the money is so small, but it's something really. It's something.
Yeah.
And then when you are out, that's when I feel like that's when that's like the second phase of your life. So it could be for some people at 21, for some people at 22, but it's a whole new life. It's a whole new different ball game there, because then if your parents are not so wealthy or you don't have as much connection, you hardly get a job.
Yeah.
You get. So you'll be jobless. And most people will have to go back to their father's house or their mother's house, especially the girls. Because most parents will not want the girls to be staying outside. You get, so they want to bring them back, and then you are staying in your father's house. You are sleeping. You are waking up, and it's a whole new different kind of life, and it's terrible. So the pressure to want to be better because your parents have spent so much money. Your parents don't send you to school to come and sit back in their house and be eating beans and eating rice. Do you get?
Yeah.
So that pressure is on yourself. Plus, even without your parents, on your own, because you are seeing some of your friends. Some of your friends are bored. You get some exactly. Where maybe they have their own personal business, or the lucky ones that will get job.
Yeah.
You know how social media is now. You should go on Instagram. You see a lot of. There are some people that advise that you should not go on Instagram because Instagram can lead to depression. Basically, so all around you, there's this force that is just, you have to get your shit together. You have to get it right. You have to fix up. You have to get something doing. And then if you try in the first year and you're not, and the way the system is set up, the way Nigeria is set up, it is set up to frustrate the living daylight out of the citizens. You get, so it's terrible.
Yeah.
So I can relate with the struggle. I understand it totally. But one thing that keeps me going, or one thing that should keep a lot of people going, is that different people with their different timeline. You get,
Yeah.
so don't put so much pressure. And I have to take my own advice a lot because life can be difficult. But don't put so much. There's no rule that say you must make it at 23 or at 24 or 2 years after you finish. You get, provided you are alive, you are healthy, and you can eat. You get, just keep trying whatever it is that you're doing. Just keep doing it one day at a time. Take it one day. That's my advice to people. That's my advice to my friends that, come to me with it. Just keep taking it one day at a time. One day at a time. And it's going to help too if you have very supportive parents. For those people that have, for those of us that have, I think we're among the lucky few.
Yeah.
Parents that are not, and also for girls now, this is the time where there are some parents in quotes will start pushing the girls towards marriage. You are getting old. You have to bring. Meanwhile, all your life they've been telling you to stay away from boys and boyfriend. You get, so guy. I don't know. It's a very, very difficult situation, to be honest.
Yeah. I what do you think?
One thing that I have to say is not everybody has a fair ground to start on. Some people could have wealthy parents that could help them push up. Your networking could be good, and then you could push up. But then not everybody's like that. Because during NYC, I was always complaining about how small my money was. But then there are some people that were sending money home to their parents. So it was really crazy. And then people also consider that your time is not another person's time. Just because this balling at this time doesn't mean you wouldn't ball as well. But it's not just your time. Do you understand? As far as you're pushing, you're doing your work, you're not being, lazy about anything. I think basically what you want, you'd get what you want. And then the marriage thing. In secondary school, and then they'll just be telling us, I don't want to hear a story. I don't want to see man. I don't want to see boyfriend. Okay, my parents are cool and they are very legit. They don't preach to me about this type of nonsense. But you'd hear aunties or random people that you don't even know. When we come and eat cake, I want to tie her tie. Excuse you? I'm not even working.
That's the shallow African mind mentality. Go to school. That's the Nigerian dream. Go to school, graduate. They don't even care what course you study. Graduate, go for NYC. If you're a girl, come and marry. Let us eat rice. Let your husband start taking care of you.
I have aunties that pray for me to find husband, but they won't pray for me to find good job. And then I'm trying to. I want to work. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to provide for myself. I don't want to live a life of dependency. They'll tell you, like, that one will come. You find man first.
It's just crazy. I actually have female friends. I have a female friend. I won't mention her name. That always tells me about the pressure that she puts on herself on getting married because of one or two things. And I always tell her the same things, that don't put yourself on too much pressure. Yeah, she's just a couple of months older than me, and she's putting herself under so much pressure to get married so even before the year ends. And I tell her the same thing, that you are getting worried about things that you shouldn't get bothered about. So you're still pretty young, although she'll say, okay, for a female, 24, 25 is old, but I don't know. I don't
old at all. There's nothing old about it. And see, Tega, if you now trace it, this constant pressure for young girls to now get married will now lead them to marry wrong men that will start. Because as a 23-year-old girl in Nigeria, apart from very few, the rest, a very large percentage don't really have anything to do. So what are you bringing to the marriage? So when you get married, you probably get married to an older man who is pompous, who is proud, who feels entitled. So you get into the marriage and you start seeing different sorts of problems.
Yeah.
You get. So our parents, our generation, or our uncles, our aunties, they need to stop that thing to always push people to want to get married. I hate hearing it.
All right, quickly. So we got 2 feedback questions from our listeners. So quickly, I want to get your opinions on this. A quick yes, no kind of segment. Oris, first one was someone asking if it's healthy to date their co-worker at the office.
It's a terrible idea. I feel like it's a terrible idea because no matter how you want to do it, eventually it will start affecting people's work. And if they catch you, you can get sacked. And so I feel like it's a no-no for me. Don't let work be work. You can get a relationship out elsewhere.
Yeah.
Advice, so.
All right.
It's a big no for me. Don't mix your business with pleasure.
Well, first of all, if the company that they're working for does not have a lay-down policy against that, I see there's nothing wrong in why husband and wife cannot work in the same company.
Yes.
As long as it does not affect the proficiency of their work, I don't see any reason why they can't work together. In the sense of that, why will you see a family that both parents are lecturers working in the same university? Does it affect the productivity of the university? Or does it bring down the standard of the university? Or does it affect the academic performance of the students? No.
Well,
so I don't see any reason why they shouldn't work. They shouldn't work together. That's why you shouldn't date a coworker.
In my opinion, I think it's a bit tricky. Like for where I work, there's this strict. You can date your coworker if you want. Not really. You can date your coworker, but you guys can have background relationship if you want to. But if it's going to lead to public relationship in the sense of public, when I mean public, I mean you guys are getting married. Then one person has to live for the other. You can if you want to date, fine. But if you want to not get married, both of you can work in the same environment. One person has to go and one person has to stay. So I think maybe it might be standard in some other places. And the last question,
as long as there's no policy guarding it, I don't see anything wrong there. What you can say is that if there is no lay-down policy, the two of them cannot be in the same department.
It's not wrong, but I just feel it's not advisable because me, I know myself. If I will get distracted. I'm not going to want to lie. I'm a very playful person. I will want to. So no. I feel like no. For me, it's not obviously if there are no rules, sure, but that is not advisable. To be honest, I've seen it happen many times. It always affects.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, last question was someone asking that their partner is kind of into giving ideas of trying to spice the whole relationship, sex life by having a threesome and all those weird things. What's your take on that kind of relationship? Or if your partner tells you, okay, let's spice our sex life with threesome, all those weird sexual things people do, would you
why do you feel threesome is weird?
Wait, we'll come to your turn.
What do you think?
The sense of the threesome is bringing somebody else to have sex, right?
Yes.
That's the best. To me, it's a no. I don't share my food. I don't share my man. There are couples that are bisexual, and then instead of how to cheat, they would bring somebody else into the relationship. You get.
Yes.
And then also some couples would like to, spice up their sex life or something. But the thing is, a lot of people have to realize, and keep the energy that if requesting for, 2 women, if a woman should request for 2 men, it should be fine between them.
Okay, I feel for me, provided we're not in Nigeria, because Nigerian rules. What Nigeria says about, because obviously if a threesome, so they have to be 2 people of one sex, whether it's a boy or whether it's a girl, you get.
Yes.
But Nigerian rules outside, if that wasn't really like a factor, it's hardly ever a factor. I'm open to it if my girlfriend will be open to it. I don't see it as a big issue. If she's open to it, sure.
Yeah. And if you're open to it and she's not open to it, then you won't.
No, I'm not going to be open to it. I'm not going to suggest that kind of stuff. I don't think I would. Okay. If she's pushing, why I could do it for her.
It's something you could bring up. You get. It's not like you have to do it or it's something that has to be done, but it's something like you can discuss. Babe, would you consider this, or do you see how this is? Basically something else to spice up our sex life. Do you think like this is okay? Would you like to try this? It's fine.
Well, I don't know when I start having sex. I don't know.
What do you mean by when you start having sex? I basically see your Twitter every single day, so it's not like I'm blocked.
Which is Ibadan girl.
I'm a virgin, please.
Oh my god. That's a grand light.
Williams, answer, please.
Okay, for me, it's very dicey. I could say yes and I could say no. But for us to go ahead, for considering the word marriage and unionship, if it's something I want and it's something she doesn't want, and she's not ready to compromise to make me for us to both of us to agree on it, I think we should just let it go. But if she's something she wants and I'm willing or I'm trying to meet her halfway, you can go ahead and do it.
But that's the question. Will you be
yes.
willing if
my wife, yes, she willing. She said, okay, an extra guy or an extra boy or a girl, I will be willing if it's something she wants and it sits with my conscience, my good conscience. Then we can go about it, because in the long run, then marriage gets boring, and you need to find things. I'm just speaking in general notes. You need to find things that spark up your relation, things that make you want to marry her. You need to do things together, things that will bring up that old flame and make the union interesting, because as you are growing older, responsibilities are taking your time. You won't have time to...
For William's point, some of our parents are married 40, 50, 60 years. I don't think they ever did that.
You can't compare their era to our era. I've told you.
Exactly. No, but what I was going to say is that if for me, if you're getting bored of your marriage in quotes, go and do something fun.
Rob a bank and run away together.
Exactly. This one, but if
go skydiving. Yes,
exactly. But it doesn't. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy though. Lastly on the show, football. Let's talk about football just for a brief minute. Netherlands League got cancelled, null and void. The French League also got cancelled, null and void. But what the French League did differently was that they awarded PSG the title. Or is this the same thing happening for the Premier League? What do you think?
We've been seeing reports now. They are saying they want to. Most of the Premier League teams want to come back to play. So we're still watching it. Even in Italy, most of them, I think they voted. Most of the teams want to come back and complete the season. And La Liga too. You get so on the French league. I think PSG has said that they will play most of their home games in the Champions League. If he comes back, they'll play it abroad, which means they'll play it in another country. So I don't know. I feel like it's messy. I feel like they should just render the season null and void and start afresh. By September, hopefully, this whole Corona issue will be sorted out, so everybody starts afresh again. That's my own thinking.
Yeah, for me, I feel this. If at all they are actually going to risk starting the leagues, but I feel every game should be played at empty stadiums. That's just the best way. Put the players in the camp and let them play the games on empty stadiums. End the season in less than 2 months or 1.5 months, and everybody can relax till September. I think that's the best way. But trying to involve so many fans at this period coming to stadiums, I think it will be very wrong. Williams, what's your take on it?
Well, I first of all, I don't know. It's a little bit confusing for me because I don't want Liverpool to win the title. I'm sorry. I feel if they cancel the league, they shouldn't give anybody the title. But then again, they've worked hard for it. Why would I want my selfish desires to come in against their hard work?
I have to work out for it.
If they can come back and end the season, and it will be better because, but it will not affect the next season. Because I've been thinking in my head, if they end the season now, what happens to the Champions League? Do they leave it at where it is currently, or how do they go about that? Because so many big teams are almost out, like Chelsea, that is just hanging on by this Corona. Corona is really keeping Chelsea in the Champions League. So I don't know how they will go about that. But the Premier League, if they want to come back, I think it should be closed doors, behind closed. Yeah.
Williams, I have a perfect solution for the Champions League.
Okay.
Yeah, they should just give the Champions League trophy to the team that has the current Ballon d'Or winner. It's only fair.
And all many said that word. All the football fans listening to the podcast roll their eyes in horror.
Like, come on for here, who be this guy?
Yeah, well,
it's only fair.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, on that note, bring an end to this episode of the Win Center podcast. Before we end the podcast, I'll really love to appreciate our listeners for always listening to the show. Last episode was massive for us, our highest ever downloaded episode to date, and it's just crazy the amount of support we got at the last episode.
I saw it, Tega, because I have people that download it and they post on their status, both on Twitter. They're posting for us. They're posting on WhatsApp. Some are sharing to their friends. So the support really from when we started has been massive. So we are very, very grateful. I'm sure most of them are still listening. We are very, very good from the bottom of our heart. Like, I cannot even express with words how grateful I am. But thank you, and keep supporting us.
To all our brilliant listeners that come here every day to watch me and Edmund banter each other, I appreciate you guys greatly for what you have been doing. We started this podcast in a small number. Gradually, we are rising. We're up to 2K by God's grace. So, we get to 3K, 4K, and even up to 1 million listeners. It's really interesting that people still take out time to listen to us, even though we say some things that are controversial at times. But then again, people have to talk about this topic because everybody can be quiet about it.
Yeah,
and we have more, and we're giving the listeners more audience this period, in the sense that more of our listeners will be coming online to the show to have a feel of how it feels to talk on the podcast. And thank you for your suggestions, your comments. We are
the criticisms, though, even the feedback. The ones that say, okay, I don't like
positive, negative feedbacks.
Everything.
I enjoy it. Yeah, Edmund, we always on loggerheads about the feedbacks, and we are trying our best to be better.
To be better.
So we hope that this podcast becomes the number one podcast in the world in time to come. And we will get there with your continuous support. Thank you guys. You are far too kind.
Exactly. I mean, last week the Viewing Center podcast was number 5 on iTunes. So it's just crazy. From all the way from 190, now we are top 5. So it's crazy the amount of
in the whole world. Like,
no, in Nigeria.
Okay, in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's our.
Massive. I think
there was a time we were number one.
Number one in
for like 3 weeks.
In Nigeria. Number one in soccer in Nigeria. So that's massive, really. When we started Tega, I never thought about it.
We're languishing in 100. Relegation team. All them Blackburn.
All right. Where can we find you on social media? Are you a social media person? Where can we find you if we want to follow you?
Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter is Empress_Aye, and on Instagram is Aye_Sheke, Cheke. Yeah,
and Oris, where can we find you on social media?
Normal Edmund Oris. On Twitter, mostly.
Yeah, and Williams.
I'm on Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, but you can find me on Twitter at the Godfather of Harlem, on Instagram at Williams _145.
That's too much.
Or nameless Cupid. Anyone.
Exactly. I agree with Aya. That's your Twitter is too much. You need to change it to something simpler.
Just change it to your name. Change it to your name so people can easily find you.
It's my name. You can search my name. It will come up. But if you search the Godfather of Harlem, that will come up faster.
All right. Anyways, you can follow me on Twitter at #Tega, and you can follow the show on Twitter at ViewCenterPod. If you would like to be on the show, send us a DM, and if you would like to sponsor the show, also send us a DM, and we'll get talking. Or you can download the show on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Cast, TuneIn Radio. In fact, you can download the podcast anywhere you listen podcast, anywhere your podcast is found. Just search the Viewing Center and you'll definitely see us on that platform. All right, guys. Till next time, take care of yourself. Follow the NSCDC guidelines on the COVID-19 and see you next episode. Cheers.
Good day, everyone. This is Dr. Williams, the co-host for the Viewing Center podcast. I'm here to sensitize you about COVID-19. Are you scared? Are you in doubt? COVID-19 is real and it's not a death sentence. Majority of those infected develop mild symptoms and recover fully. If you are experiencing these symptoms, high fever, cough, and difficulty in breathing, firstly, do not panic because panicking doesn't help at all. Inform those who you live with, protect them by isolating in a different room. Call the NCDC toll-free numbers or visit a nearby hospital. The hospital has trained medical personnel who will assess your symptoms and direct you accordingly. Keep well hydrated, wash your hands, use alcohol-based sanitizers, avoid social events, and observe strict social distancing. For our brothers and sisters in the field, be on high alert. Treat each patient with a high index of suspicion. Remember to use the appropriate PPEs. Be safe. Once again, do not panic. Together we can defeat COVID-19. Remember, you are the most important person in the world. Be safe. The Viewing Center cares.